You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm and Jupiter. A world-class experience. Visit BremenBMW.com. And by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
What's up? It is Kevin along with Ricky Bobby.
Hello.
Diener. Yo. And jumping in with us again today, Jordan.
What's going on?
Hello.
Hello.
Lady. Hello, lady.
That's how we're starting this?
That's how we're starting
I like
this.
it.
Well, coming up in a second is Pat Riley making a play to bring back LeBron James. Strategy. And does he have any chance? Not a lot of people talk about LeBron coming back to South Beach, but is it a possibility? I don't know. What about this year, though? Heat tank again. They're definitely trending down heading into the playoffs, which you can't like to see. Disastrous fourth quarter last night. And, I mean, they're playing a good team in the Oklahoma City Thunder, but, I mean.
I was going to say, it's not like they're playing some scrubbies.
Yeah, but that fourth quarter, man, 39-12.
Yeah.
They were up 18.
I know, but that's just it. I mean, how many?
That's a bad blow.
But how many times have we seen that out of the Heat where they have had some massive leads that they've blown late in games? I just don't know. There's a couple trends with this team that's disturbing. One, they can't beat bad teams. I'm not sure how they do against good teams either. But, I mean, they can't seem to close late in games. Just, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Home has been pretty good. They were 9-1 in their previous 10. But just 17-25 against teams with winning records.
I put on that game last night, and I saw, oh, cool, wow, the Heat are winning pretty big. All right, I'll check back on this later. I put it back on later with 4 minutes left or whatever it was, and they're down like 20 points. I'm like, what happened?
Russell Westbrook happened.
Unbelievable. 25 triple-doubles this year.
But, you know, you got to stop that guy. And they did not. Paul George had a pretty good game, too. So, I don't know. So where does that leave the Miami Heat now? What are they looking at, and who do you want to see in the playoffs? Well, it looks like now they've dropped down to the 7th seed, which, you know, arguably that could be a blessing in disguise because now you're lining up against Boston.
I was like, this is the matchup you want against the hobbled Boston Celtics.
See, now I'm okay with this because, as you know,
now you're okay with it.
I'm okay with it now.
We've been talking about how that was the better matchup literally the entire time, and all of a sudden now you know your matchup's not going to happen. It's like, okay, well, I'm okay with it now.
Pretty much. Why do I sound like that? Is that how I really sound?
No, you don't really sound like that.
No, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now that the Cavs are not in the 3 seed anymore. Now, granted, they're a half game out, so it could change in the final game of the season. But I don't want to play the Sixers in the first. That's no fun.
No, Sixers hottest, like one of the hottest teams going on right now in the East, and
Yeah, they're killing it.
Yeah,
and they don't even have it Embiid. Once Embiid comes back,
yeah,
it's a monster team.
Right.
What am I talking about? The 76ers. Holy crap.
So here's how it lays out. If Miami loses to Toronto at home tomorrow night, the Heat could actually slip down to 8th.
Jeez.
And they could wind up facing off against the Raptors then, so they'd have to play them in the first round
Don't want that.
of the playoffs. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that there's a good possibility that the Heat might be able to put something together that might be able to. I don't believe in Toronto.
I don't like that matchup against Toronto. I don't like it at all because they're pretty much almost the same team that they were when they beat the Heat in 7 games a couple of years ago in the second round of the playoffs. They don't have Bismack Biyombo anymore.
Bismack.
Where did Biyombo go? Orlando, I think.
Bismack Biyombo. I think he went to Indiana.
Okay. Either way, who cares? But
God,
the fact
that.
Why ask the question then?
I don't know. I was thinking out loud. The fact is that I didn't like the matchup then. I don't like it now. I don't want Toronto in the first round.
Rank out the 4 favorite opponents that you want to see the Heat face in order, because there's basically about 4 people that they theoretically could play. If you had to say, would you say Celtics number 1?
Yeah, they
Celtics
have to be.
would probably be your best matchup, yeah.
Okay, you want Celtics, and then who would you put at the number 2 spot? Do you want to see Toronto, Cleveland, or the 76ers? See, because I think I want to see the Celtics first, then I think, oddly enough, Toronto.
I'm telling you, I
Really?
really think that there's
Yes.
a possibility that the Heat
I
could be able
do.
to muster something up to beat Toronto. Toronto's a sham.
Toronto. Then I've got Cleveland, and the team I don't want to face, 76ers. That would be in order. That's my 4. of who I'd like to see him line up with, and it could be anybody.
But this is another thing, though, too, is I would probably put 76ers above Cleveland because Cleveland has playoff experience. 76ers are a bunch of kids.
You're
so
right.
you never know. They could be really hot in the regular season, but if anybody knows in the regular season, it doesn't really all matter. Just make it to the playoffs. Once you make it there, it's a totally different
It's
game.
true. No, it's true. In the NBA, it's different than hockey, where hockey you can have that hot team that has no experience, just go all the way. But it's weird, man.
With the disparity of goals in hockey, it makes sense, but...
Yeah, for once, I actually agree with this guy over here, Ricky. I don't like agreeing with him, but it's true. It's different in the playoffs. You can have a team whose experience not playing well, like Cleveland. They're kind of weird right now, but they can go all the way to the finals.
You just don't want to be that team that has to try to launch LeBron out of the playoffs in the first round.
It'd be dope. It'd
be great to be the first to do it.
That'd be sweet.
That's the one that I want. That's the one that I want. If the Heat...
Now he's back on it. Now he's back on it. All of a sudden, Kevin says it. Now it's all of a sudden...
hold on a second.
Steven's like, wait a second. Let me get my board shorts out.
There's some odd timing in this comment that finally came out from Pat Riley, and I guess it is with this book that is going to be coming up. And some people have said, okay, why the timing of this? Are we timing this book and this comment from Pat Riley saying that LeBron James actually did the right thing when he left the Heat in 2014? Riley admitted that, it took him 3 days to get over his tremendous anger. He said, I was absolutely livid.
3 days?
3 days.
Wow.
It's a long time.
3 days of mourning.
Yeah, it really was.
And he said, I was absolutely livid, which I expressed to myself and my closest friends. And he said, my beautiful plan suddenly came crashing down. He said, that team in 10 years could have won 5 or 6 championships.
That's right.
But I get it, the whole chronicle of LeBron's life. And he said, look, I get it. You had to go home. If you ever wanted to return to your hometown, you had to go back and win them a championship.
Yeah.
Seems like everybody's thinking, okay, he went, accomplished that, crossed it off the list. If he ever wants to go back and live in Akron, not Cleveland again, which I'm sure he would, then he can do that. So where's he going to go? And is this Pat Riley's way of trying to make a play to say, hey, come back to South Beach, baby. Your best friend's down here.
There's always a play to do that. But, I mean, the reality of it is that LeBron is still a contender and will still probably be a contender for the next couple of years. Dwayne Wade, not so much.
Are the Heat with LeBron a contender next year?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think this is the thing about LeBron is I think any team he's on, you automatically look at them as like this is a possible contender.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Hassan Whiteside can get his head straight and Wade comes back next year and plays fine with some of the other young pieces they have there, you add LeBron into it, they're a finals team again.
Okay.
In my opinion, they're a finals team again.
You say D. Wade retires before LeBron does?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You think so, definitely?
Well, because also LeBron hasn't had injury issues. Dwayne Wade has had multiple injury issues.
Right.
So, I mean, and he's kind of been bounced around. And LeBron, everywhere he's been successful. Going from when he first came into the NBA. So, Dwayne Wade, he went to Cleveland, and, it didn't really work out too well for him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he went to Chicago. That didn't work out well for him either. So,
No.
I mean, it's a little different situation. He's looking to hold on to whatever legacy he can create
left.
for himself in these next 2 years and then get the hell out of here.
For everybody, though, it's optimistic about, okay, this is maybe Pat Riley's play to kind of like open the door to have a discussion with LeBron James about coming back to Miami after this. There's something else that goes on in this interview that I think just slams the door right shut. Yes, absolutely. I think it's what he talks about with Eric Spoelstra. And I think it's a little bit of Pat Riley's ego talking about how LeBron James had come to him after the Maverick series and said, hey, any chance you consider coming back and coaching? And to me, in a sense, when he's talking about this, saying, look, I don't think Spo is the guy who's going to take us to the promised land.
Yeah.
This was after LeBron's first year in Miami when they went to the finals, didn't win it. And he said, look, I'm here to win championships.
We got posted up by J.J. Barea.
Stop.
I think I'm going to need you to come back to coach this team to make it happen, or I'm not going to get those championships. And Pat Riley's like, I don't have the itch. I've got no desire to come back. And I think, in a sense, it's kind of a discredit to Eric Spoelstra, and I wonder if that is going to create some tensions with LeBron and Spo, or if you'd say that's just old, water under the bridge.
I feel like that's kind of what it is right now, is a little bit of water under the bridge. Because
it was so long ago, too. I mean, they won 2 championships in that meantime. So
I think Spoelstra probably, he proved himself to LeBron at that point. Now, they weren't the biggest fans of each other. Everybody pretty much knew that. But here's the thing about Pat Riley. Pat Riley and God have something in common. They both do everything for a reason. And if this guy is coming out and saying these things now, writing this book in April, He's talking about this a couple months before free agency starts.
Right.
It's his play, man. Pat Riley's not dumb. He's not coming out talking about this just because he wants to talk about it. No.
See, I think this is more of a dig on LeBron than it is anything, because it kind of just feeds into the understanding that everywhere he goes, he must control everything that's happening. For him to turn around after the first year, but it's more confirmed from the Godfather himself, Pat Riley, saying that he immediately after that first finals came up to me and said, "Would you be interested in coaching? I'm already done with this guy."
Yeah.
When in reality, a lot of why they lost was his fault. Like he wimped out in the finals.
He did.
So I mean, I think it's more of a dig towards LeBron. But everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, does this mean LeBron's coming back to Miami?" This is the same thing that happened with Tiger with golf. Everybody's going to start talking about golf now because Tiger's back.
Okay, so even though you say that Pat Riley's coming out and saying, I now have understanding of LeBron's decision to leave us in 2014, you think that subvertly on the back end, this is actually a dig at LeBron?
I think it's kind of letting people know. I mean, it may not be even intentional, but if you read into this, it looks like, wow, this guy is a complete control freak, and he could possibly be a cancer for your team, because if he wanted to get somebody out, he will. Look what happened with David Blatt.
Yeah,
David Blatt was there. That was the coach. They brought him over from overseas. That was going to be the guy. Took him out for who? His dude, Tyronn Lue. So, I mean, like, you know he controls it.
It's at least confirmation that LeBron tries to manipulate coaching situations that he's in.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to take him on, he's going to want to have a say, and he's going to try to manipulate who he has in there calling the shots.
But there's a lot of teams that'll be okay with that, though.
And the Heat would now. They weren't before. But, look, the fact of the matter is, it's Greg Popovich and Eric Spoelstra. Those are the guys that have the longest tenured head coaching jobs right now, which is incredible to think about. They're both on that same list.
But you put Spoelstra as one of the top 5 most powerful NBA coaches?
I think he's probably number 5, just because of that tenure and who he has sitting behind him and Pat Riley.
Popovich is easily number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Eric Spoelstra would be Eric Spoelstra without LeBron, though. Like, if LeBron never came to Miami,
he gave him credibility.
Nobody would have. I don't think Eric Spoelstra would have still been with the Heat.
Right.
I think LeBron kind of saved him. But he fell into a rhythm after that. And in reality, according to Pat Riley, LeBron didn't want to save him. LeBron wanted him gone then.
Do you think the Heat become part of the discussion to get LeBron now, or is this just a shot over the bow?
Yeah, I mean, I think any place he was is going to be a discussion, and then the Lakers.
This is Pat Riley's attempt to get him back. Make no mistake about it. This is his attempt to say, I want you back, and it's his way of saying it. So that whether or not they're in play in LeBron's mind is kind of remains to be seen.
Okay. Well, coming up here, going to be talking a little bit about problems at a couple universities. One, well documented on HBO, the Paterno special is out. Former Penn State players are blasting it, and now major problems for another Big Ten program we'll talk about coming up next.
Can't wait to break down last night's game? Yeah, not. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Has anybody seen the new HBO special Paterno? Came out on Saturday night yet?
I've got it recorded. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I gotta ask though. I mean, does Al Pacino just do all of the biopics
I think
for
he does.
HBO?
I think it's kind of
I mean,
the same guy,
Jesus. I mean, he did Jack Kevorkian. He's done this. He did what was the other guy? The record producer that killed that girl.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, he's done so many of them. It's all Al Pacino. How many more characters can Al Pacino be?
He found his new niche.
I think what they're going to do next is they're going to do the story of Al Pacino and just have Al Pacino
play himself.
Al Pacino playing Al Pacino. Well, there are some former Penn State lettermen coming out, about 300 of them, like Franco Harris and Kajana Carter, that's blasting the HBO film Paterno.
Franco Harris, good Lord, how far back are we going?
Yeah, way back, baby. He and others call the biopic uninformed, and they say it fails in every manner to depict Joe Paterno properly. Just talking to some people that had seen it, they were just saying that it shows Joe Paterno is just ultimately focused on the program and winning, and so obsessed with who the next challenger is coming up in front of him that he's not really paying much mind to the allegations against Jerry Sandusky. And kind of what you've already heard is like, yeah, I already told the athletic director about that. It's not my problem anymore. That's not what I do. I'm here to win football games. So let me focus on this, let you guys take care of all that kind of stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then apparently it's really Joe Paterno's wife that is more in his face saying, how can you not pay more attention to this? We had our kids. They used to spend the night with Jerry Sandusky. You're not concerned that something didn't go down? And it just kind of shows like Joe Paterno pretty much with the blinders on, not paying much attention.
Well, I mean, is that really what happened? Do we know? That was always kind of the speculation, is how much did he know, how much did he ignore?
It sounds like HBO goes there. And that's a lot of how they depict it.
Wow.
Now, is it a character flaw on the part of Joe Paterno? Is it ignorance on the part of Joe Paterno?
Oh, it's complete ignorance on the part of Joe Paterno.
So, but is it the kind of ignorance where it's like, hey, there are a lot of things I'm ignorant to, but it doesn't necessarily make you a bad guy. You just don't have full understanding of them or how to properly handle them.
I think in the severity of the situation, if you don't take care of something like that, then you're just as bad as the problem in the first place.
Even just hearing about it briefly in passing, it's that serious of a subject that you would look into it.
Yeah, you're talking about molesting children.
It's not, yeah.
Well, the question with him was he kind of enabling the situation, or was he enabling, like you said, maybe just letting it happen through his own ignorance and saying, oh, yeah, I've heard about it, I've reported it, what else am I supposed to do?
He's just passing the buck to someone else.
Yeah, and I've kind of heard the story. I know some people who were the Joe Paterno apologists were saying he really didn't fully fathom what was going on.
That's kind of the impression I got from it always.
Yeah, he didn't really understand when somebody even told him, when Mike McQuarrie came to him, was trying to explain what was going on. Mike McQuarrie was so distraught and didn't really lay out what was happening, and Joe Paterno had confusion, saying, look, I think there was something that was improper that was being done, but I really don't understand this man-boy love thing that he's describing.
And no, but I
don't know what this means.
It's not a bad point, because that's kind of always the way I thought about it. You got to remember with Joe Paterno, when that happened, he was in his mid-80s, I think, already, right, when he retired?
It had been happening, though.
Right, but this is a guy that grew up in the 30s. He was like 20 years old when World War II was going on.
What the hell does that make a difference?
What I'm saying is that there was a generational
I'm pretty sure
gap.
Child rape is still the same in the 30s.
I know, I understand that, but I'm saying is there's a generational gap there. It's not like today when everybody's aware of all these different scandals Michigan State things are going on.
That's the weakest argument towards it.
I'm not arguing for Joe Paterno.
No, but what I'm saying was if people are taking that stance, it's the weakest argument I could be able to hear, because it doesn't make a difference. If you know something's bad, you know something's bad. The sins.
I don't think he understood
go back to
what it was.
7 deadly sins were still the same then as it is now.
I feel like it's just so black and white, though. As soon as you hear anything about it, you would say something, even if you don't understand fully.
To us, that's the way. Of course, it's easy. I'm saying I don't think he understood it that way.
That's the Joe Paterno apologists. That's their argument, is just saying that this guy didn't fathom.
I don't think he got it.
Yeah, he didn't understand what
was
exactly.
Still rolling his own cigarettes.
Yes,
that
was what they say, and it sounds like the HBO special is painting Joe Paterno. All he cared about, all he looked at, all he knew was, look, I am worried about the X's and O's of a football game and these, periphery type events that are happening, whether they be scandals or whatnot. This isn't what I handle. I deal with the players. I make sure they're ready to play. I make sure their mindset is in the right place. They know what the plays are, and they're ready to go out and try to win this game.
I believe it. That's probably exactly what happened. And you can't excuse it. It's incredibly, obviously, negligent on his part to let those things go on. But I'm saying that's where I think his disconnect was that gap. He just didn't get it.
Yeah, and that's what it sounds like a lot of his former players are coming up that are standing up and really blasting this piece that HBO did, Paterno, are saying is that you weren't there. You didn't see the day-to-day. You don't understand this. Like, you're trying to condemn his character when, yes, he may have been ignorant to it. He may not have acted properly, but it wasn't out of the fact that he was a bad person and a sinister individual. He just did not understand what was being told to him, and he didn't handle it the right way.
Right.
And that's their side of it. That's what I think they're trying to argue. Now, that's why, to me, I really want to see this now and see what exactly was done. And I think that's one of the big questions in a debate you're always going to have about Joe Paterno and his legacy, is the people who are defending him are saying what I just said, and the other people on the other side are saying, how can you not understand this? You would think that if you heard something even that close that you would be like, I really need to investigate this to make sure that it's rooted out properly. But I think it's a condemnation on big-time college sports. And we've got another story that is going out today, another Big Ten school, and how much problem is Michigan State going to have? And it's interesting timing that the Penn State thing is coming back to the surface with this HBO special just as Michigan State gets hit with this lawsuit from a student who claims that she was date raped by 3 prominent Michigan State basketball players that put something in her drink, took her back to an apartment, and then raped her, all 3 of them. And then as she tried to go to the school to say something about it, they're like, hold up. We need to bring somebody in here and say, look, what you're about to do is really going to rock the boat around here.
Yep.
And that's in a sense what she's saying, and saying, look, it was like, do we really need to go there? I mean,
It's incredible. I mean, that's the culture. And that's the problem. It's not Michigan State. It's not Penn State. It's a lot of schools, unfortunately, and we just don't hear about it. And the culture, that's the way it works in these big-time college programs. It's horrible. And I don't understand how we were talking about this back in, February, January with the school, with all these things going on, and now again it's just coming up. How has this not been a story the past 3 months?
I think what's going to happen is I think it started to come out a little bit like around in January, and I think what's happening now is everything is starting to line up. That was part of it in the Penn State story, was that it was a story with everything that had happened with Jerry Sandusky, and it had been printed on print for 6 months before anybody did anything. And like, it's this small town beat reporter at Happy Valley. It's like going, no one's paying attention to this? Like, this seems to be like a big story, and no one's doing anything. These are the things that happen where you start getting lawsuits and more people come forward. And the girl who is suing Michigan State, this is what she's doing, is hoping that more women will come forward and say, look, they've set up
because that's the culture now.
Right.
Yeah, because you're afraid of the repercussions if you come and talk about it. So if one person stands up and gives the others a voice, then it's all just going to come out.
Yeah, and she had said that, she admittedly, she was underage drinking, and so she didn't come forward immediately because she was afraid of the repercussions of, oh, well, you're underage drinking and what might happen from that. And so it took her some time to come forward. Now, if that is going to hurt her case, I don't know. But it's an interesting thing that's happening just in our country right now. And for this to happen, this could be one of those things where it takes another shot at these big-time colleges that have this kind of culture set up where they protect the athletes at all costs.
And think of it this way, when it comes to the culture like we're talking about, the only reason that Jerry Sandusky was discovered after all those years was because it happened off campus.
Yeah, it didn't happen at the school.
It's incredible. That's the only reason why it was found out, because an incident happened off campus and someone said something about it. Otherwise, who knows if anyone
did,
if anybody would have ever said anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But this could be one of the things like what you saw with the Jerry Sandusky case, and just one victim after another after another. It could be the next thing where, is this just going to end with Tom Izzo and the basketball program at Michigan State, or are you going to see Mark D'Antonio?
Yeah.
Same problem. I know there have been some allegations about football players and the culture that they had. And I think there was one that was accused of like sexual assault, and Mark D'Antonio's like, hey, you need to call your mom and tell her what you did.
Right. That was his answer.
Right.
It was
Allegedly.
the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard
Allegedly.
in my entire life.
Yeah. So I think those kind of things are going to be addressed. Yeah. I think those things are going to be addressed.
I think it's also, too, it's like maybe why it hasn't been as big of a story is because it is alleged. And I think that's part of the conversation when it comes to these type of things that are not really taken into consideration, because the court of public opinion, you're immediately found guilty when it comes to something like this. But, I mean, it's alleged. There have been people that have lied.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to teeter really on both sides of this and be very careful.
Right. You do. And
it sucks to be careful about it because it's a very sensitive subject.
Right.
But you have to.
Well, it'll be interesting to see exactly where it plays out, how many more people might come forward at Michigan State, and where this whole thing ends. Coming up in a couple of minutes, do you believe that Mark McGwire would have hit 70 home runs without the roids? He says he would have. We'll discuss coming up next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
I'm not going to lie. I really kind of wish they had steroids in baseball.
It was so much fun, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so entertaining.
A lot of fun.
I mean, just juice these guys up and just let them hit it to the moon and back. I mean, just exciting stuff, right?
What would be that was so much fun. We had so much fun for such a long time.
We did.
And then all of a sudden it's like, well, no, we can't do this anymore. We got to do that. And the reason why these people were juicing was not really to hit the home runs. That was just a byproduct. It was the last 162 I almost said it. Games.
Careful.
It just pisses me off because it's like you took all the fun out of baseball.
Well, some people would say not all the fun. They've had to clean it up. You got to try to keep these records pristine. But I mean, you've got a whole era in there from the 90s into the 2000s where can you believe any of the numbers that you ever saw? And I think the reason why Mark McGwire is talking right now is because you've got so much focus on Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge and guys who you believe are doing it clean. And last year, Giancarlo Stanton hits 59 home runs. So the argument could be that, I mean, if you're just even a more superior hitter than Giancarlo Stanton, that 11 more? That's not outrageous, right? In the course of a season, if you really got on it?
Well, I mean, nowadays, no, when you think about the what we've done with diets and what we've done in exercise and all this stuff like that. I mean, we evolve with that stuff. So, yeah, maybe Mark McGwire now with the new regiment, the way that these guys train, it might be different.
Well, here's what Mark McGwire has said and is saying now. Going back to 2010, he did an interview with Bob Costas, and he said, the only reason I took steroids was for health purposes. I didn't take steroids to get any gain for any strength purposes, right?
Sure.
I've always had bat speed. I just learned how to shorten my bat speed. I learned how to be a better hitter. There's not a pill or an injection that is going to give me or any athlete the hand-eye coordination to hit a baseball the way that I did. He said, yeah, unfortunately, I did take the PEDs, and I've regretted that. Unfortunately, there wasn't any testing. So it really wasn't Mark McGwire's fault. They didn't have testing.
No.
So, of course, if they're not going to have a way to catch you, I mean...
I'm going to do it.
And it's not his fault, right?
No, of course
It's their fault for not having the proper testing.
No, the testing is really entrapment if you think about it.
Yes, if you don't have the testing there, of course I'm going to take the roids. Now, he says that he would use steroids occasionally throughout the 90s, and he began in 1989. That's when it all started. So I don't think you can believe anything he's already said.
No.
I don't think you can believe when he started taking steroids. But let's just say if on this one thing you believe Mark McGwire, and you look back at his career, he was, before 1989, hitting a good amount of home runs. In 1987, he had 49 home runs. Then in 96, this is, past the time when he started taking them, he went 52 home runs, 58 in 97. He had the 70 home runs in 1998, and the following year he followed up with 65 home runs. So, it's
big. So the huge numbers.
Huge numbers.
You jump up 20, too. I mean, that's a lot of home runs to all of a sudden start chucking up, too.
Yeah, but he was always...
When he says he was clean, 49 was the most that he hit. And we're talking about Giancarlo doing 59 at clean, which is 10 more. So do you believe Mark McGwire that he just became a better hitter through the course of the 90s the whole time he was taking steroids? That
I wasn't getting jacked up. I was more focused.
That's what it was. It was all about focus, yes. No,
taking Ritalin, too? I don't understand.
Oh, he probably was. I get what he's saying. That's always been my argument with Barry Bonds, is that you can take all the steroids you want to give you strength and whatnot, but it's not going to help your hand-eye coordination. It's not going to help in your natural talent of hitting the ball.
Yeah.
He had that before. You gave those numbers. He was hitting home runs before he was taking steroids. It just so happens that he became freakishly strong, so that might have helped him
but you've got
a little further.
Here's the thing with hitting home runs, though. You've got a lot of different factors that play into this. You talk about Colorado, it's the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Different ballparks, it's the wind and the way that the wind typically carries.
Another thing about baseball, too, is that not all the stadiums are the same.
Right.
That's the biggest crock of crap I've ever heard in my entire
Exactly.
life. How is it? What do you mean?
No, what do you mean?
What do I mean?
Yes, what do you mean?
Well, when you go to play football, is it the same amount in every single stadium?
Is everything 100 yards?
Yeah.
Hey, when you go to play basketball, is it the same in every arena?
Sure.
So why is it not the same in every ballpark?
It's not the same in every ballpark. That's what
Is he
I'm
okay?
saying.
Is he okay?
No, he's a nap.
I think that hat's a little too
What
tight.
am I missing here?
I
That's
literally
his
just
point.
said
What
that.
he's saying is they're trying to... Baseball's upset with the steroid era because they're trying to maintain consistency through the 100-plus years of the sport.
Yeah, but they don't have consistency.
Right.
And there's not consistency now from one ballpark to the next where you've got the lengths of fences and you've got atmosphere and you've got wind and you've got everything else that plays into effect. It would be like in the NBA, you go to one court and the rim's 11 feet here or 13 feet, and so the guy who's dunking the ball can't get rims. So that's a lot of what the argument is in baseball. You're so worried about protecting these numbers, and people like McGwire and Barry Bonds are never going to sniff the Hall of Fame because you want to keep these numbers pristine, but you've never had consistency in numbers in baseball ever.
The reason why they want to do it is because the MLB had egg on their face over the entire thing, and they wanted to punish the people that made them look stupid. That's it. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't look stupid in this whole situation, then it would have been a totally different conversation.
If somehow Giancarlo hits 70 home runs, we find out he's clean, do you all of a sudden believe Mark McGwire?
I mean, I
that helps his argument. I think that's why he's making this now, and he knows he needs to make it now because there's a chance Giancarlo's not going to hit 59 home runs this year.
The way he's striking out, I don't think he's going to hit the ball that many times.
So Mark McGwire wants to put this out there again for debate, saying, look, I could have done it without the roids, 70 home runs. And you say if Giancarlo could do 70 and you really believe Giancarlo is clean at 70, you're going, okay, yeah, Mark McGwire, he could have done it.
I think at that point it makes a better argument, but he also, with Mark McGwire and with any athlete, they're so supremely confident. Like Mario Chalmers used to believe that he was the best player on the court when he had LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. He was dead serious.
Until
he
LeBron
would say
started yelling at him.
Yes. Sit down, Mario.
No, boy, sit down.
But that's what I'm saying is that he would say it to your face and believe it. And that's what Mark McGwire is doing here. He's so supremely confident in his past abilities. He really thinks.
Well, he's compensating. He's got a tiny pee-pee because of all the PEDs.
Well, now he
that's
does.
why.
But he really thinks that he could have done that. I don't think he's trying to save face by any means. I really believe he believes he could have done it without the steroids. I think he's dead wrong.
Yeah.
But
okay, so you don't believe
I don't know if he's dead wrong.
Yeah, cause I honestly, I think it's possible. I think that the roids help give that extra ping, just like good wind helps you get a little ping, just like playing in Colorado gets you a little bit of lift. It's those small little factors that drive it out. And so, yeah, I think you probably removed 10 home runs.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he probably would have got to like 62. He might have still broken Roger Maris's record, but by a home run. Just one.
Okay.
One home run.
Well, we'll see what Stanton does tonight. He's got to do a rebound. He didn't strike out last night, but he didn't play. So,
yay!
Hey,
it's always a good remedy.
There you go.
I mean, you can't lose if you don't try.
Yeah, he and Aaron Judge tonight. You can check it out. 640 The Hurricane here. This is probably what the Yankees need. They're going into Boston, taking on the Red Sox, one of the hottest teams, if not the best team in baseball right now.
Yeah.
And they probably just, they have been put on a pedestal ever since getting Stanton, saying, wow, this is the magic piece, that I think it's going to be good for them to come in, one, against rivals, and two, as an underdog. I think a lot of people are expecting the Yankees to probably lose this series. So for them to go into hostile territory, us against the world, this might be what the Yankees need to galvanize themselves and turn it around.
Could you imagine if the Yankees get swept in the series, though?
It's going to be a disaster. It is going to be a disaster. You'll be able to see tonight exactly what happens. But, yeah, it's a big one for the Yankees. 7:10 is first pitch tonight right here at 640 The Hurricane. Coming up, we told you yesterday it was going to happen. Part 2 has fallen. Tim Tebow, will he accept Steve Spurrier's invitation?
Let's go.
And a youth football coach in New Smyrna Beach, oh my gosh, loses his mind. We'll tell you all about it coming up next.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
Well, you got a chance to see Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know if you'll understand him.
That's all right.
But you'll get to Guys, I love Ozzy. It's just kind of rough.
How is he still performing?
Well, I think he's performing one. They get him enough up there, and if there's not a strong wind, he'll stay upright.
No.
somehow.
He's got a Geppetto to his Pinocchio. They just got him up there on strings.
They might.
I think it's gonna be.
I've
He's
heard
like doing one of these things.
There's rumors that there's a side vocalist on the side of the stage.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of like a
I
Garth
don't
Brooks type thing?
Interesting.
I don't understand how there can't be.
Yeah.
I mean, how long ago was the Osbournes?
singing
And
to a
he didn't
track.
speak English then.
Right.
It was like
That's true.
10, 13 years
That's
ago.
very true.
Yeah, but
Longer than that.
even I think he's mumbled for a while, and even then he used to come on stage and like all of a sudden clarity would come to his voice, and you can only understand him if he's singing. So if I live with him, I'd be like going, "Can you sing everything you say?" 'Cause
Yeah,
I can't understand you when you speak. I don't, Ozzy, I didn't get that. Will you sing it?
Sharon.
He's going to be at the Fort Rock Festival with
Yes.
Godsmack, Stone Temple Pilots, Five Finger Death Punch, Stone Sour, and Shinedown. It's at
Stone
Markham
Sour's
Park.
So good live too.
Are they really?
Oh my
it's a good
God.
bill. Well, the thing even with Ozzy is he's back with Zach Wilde as guitarist, which I've never seen those two together, and so that's enough just to go and see Zach.
See, I thought this
stage
was
with
on the
him.
West Coast, but it's right down here.
Fort Lauderdale, right?
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
could have sworn it was on the West Coast. I was so excited to find out that it was right here.
We're doing the VIP for you with entrance lounge, viewing area, and VIP toilets. If you like these tickets, go to 640thehurricane.com to get them. Not surprised at all. We talked about this yesterday. We knew step one was Steve Spurrier taking the job of this new football league in Orlando. Step two, and it was going to happen immediately, and it happened faster than I thought, actually. Already putting the message out to Tim Tebow.
Yes.
You get tired of baseball, and you got a hankering to play football again. You know it's Steve Spurrier, hankering. There's a spot for you on Spurrier's Orlando team in the new Alliance of American Football. Will Tebow take the invitation is the big question. Is he going to hold on to this baseball dream for long? I mean, he's right now Double-A, so he's technically climbing up with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
I love that name.
Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
I love that name. So good.
But he's currently 1 for 7. Tebow's batting 143 with 1 homer and 3 strikeouts. So he's still not really blowing the doors off. And you got to wonder, okay, he had probably a better argument last year when the Mets were way out, like, 24 games out, and you thought maybe Tebow might get called up as a novelty act to try to put some butts in seats when games don't matter. But, I mean, now the Mets look pretty good. I mean, there's a chance maybe you might be looking at a playoff team this year. If they're a playoff team, there's no way Tebow gets a call up.
No.
So how long is he going to continue this baseball experiment? Is this the way he's going to be doing forever?
Listen.
Or while he's still got a little gas in the tank, maybe hop on over to Spurrier and play a little bit of football at quarterback in Orlando.
It's time to see some Tebow and Spurrier action. I'm ready for this. Enough with the baseball. And you know what's even great about this? Mm-hmm. Don't make that face at me, Ricky. You know what's even great about this is that
Can't wait to find out what's great about this.
Next year, if the American Alliance of Football, the good old AAF, lasts longer than a year,
The good old.
the XFL is starting at the same time in 2020.
Yeah.
So you'll have this new league, American Alliance of Football, going up against the XFL, Steve Spurrier and Tim Tebow against Vince McMahon. Let's go. Triple threat match.
I'd see this is the dumbest thing I think you might have ever said.
What?
And you have a lot
They're
of
gonna be
really,
fighting for
really
ratings.
dumb statements.
Which league do you think has a better chance?
Probably the AAF.
Whatever it is.
AF?
Too many A's.
What is it? Just too many
AAF.
A's. Whatever it is. So I think that probably has a better chance because it's more football rooted than the XFL is more of an entertainment factor.
Yeah.
The NFL is entertainment, yes, but it's kind of like undercover entertainment. Like you're not really sure whether they're doing this behind the scenes. The XFL is going to come out and say, no, we're doing all this. This is what we're doing because we're taking the same model. The other one is like run by football players, done by football players, owned by football players. It's
And what's going to be different with round 2 of the XFL, which already failed once?
I can't even tell you what the hell could be different, honestly.
From what I've heard,
Patriotism, maybe.
That's going to be one. He actually, Vince McMahon is making a rule that you are not allowed to kneel during the national anthem.
Boy, but by the time they take the field in 2019, that story is going to be so old.
Yes.
And I don't see a lot of kneeling going on this year.
No, not
Probably
really.
not.
Unless he nudges his buddy Roger Goodell and says, "Hey, man, why don't you get some kneeling going on?" So,
I don't know. Apparently, they're going to
competition here. Be great for both of our ratings.
They're going to take it more seriously. From what I heard, it's not going to be he hate me, running back kicks and cheerleaders dancing in the stands. Like that stuff is kind of in the past.
The XFL just reminds me of like the Replacements.
Yes.
And Longest
Absolutely.
Yard mixed together. That's like basically what it is.
Yeah. I don't think they got as good of a chance. I mean, I think the concept, the backing, and everything that's going on with this Alliance of American Football, taking regional stars, putting them back on a field and putting them in the right cities and playing for the amount of time that they are, where every game means a little bit more, a 10-game series, a season, I think it's got a better chance.
Since our conversation yesterday, they have added another city.
Oh, they did?
Yes, updates. Southern California is going to get, it has no idea what the stadium is or where in Southern California, but the head coach is Rick Neuheisel.
What?
Okay.
Rick Neuheisel?
Yeah.
Washington?
I tell you what, put it in San Diego.
That'd be a good spot.
They would eat it up.
Put it in San Diego. Give them some football back. Now, the only thing is, I don't know necessarily how much Southern California cares about college football, oddly enough.
I don't really care about regular football, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only thing. Some people have thrown out some cities. Like I threw out Columbus, Ohio. I think it would work very well.
Yeah.
Somebody else had thrown out play it in like Birmingham, Alabama.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Put something there in the
Orlando
South.
is a brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
spot.
Yeah, that
Great
is.
spot.
Yeah.
Are we trying to think of different cities other than NFL teams? I mean, because Pittsburgh is an obvious choice. They're so football heavy there.
I mean, I think really what works is put them in areas where you've got a lot of college football and you probably don't have necessarily the competition from the NFL.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to see them do things like putting in like Puerto Rico and stuff, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Did that work?
Hey, they played
They'll
a game.
try it.
Did they not play a game in Puerto Rico last year?
Yeah. Was it Puerto Rico or was it Mexico? They played a couple in Mexico.
No,
the
it was,
NFL
I
did.
think Mexico.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right.
Puerto Rico, Mexico.
Get yourself into trouble.
Any chance you think Tebow comes and joins up with Spurrier in Orlando?
Why would he want to leave the Rumble Ponies? That's the real question.
Good question.
I hear you.
We were having a quick conversation the other day about the minor league baseball teams, and I was saying that my favorite one is the Savannah Sand Gnats.
Those pesky Sand Gnats.
The Rumble Ponies and the Sand Gnats going against each other.
Oh man, you're in for it.
Yeah.
It's a World Series matchup.
And then the Marlins, their AAA team it's something babies, isn't it?
Please tell me that's true.
I'm looking through a bunch of them right now. There's a lot of really great
Baby
ones in
Cakes.
here.
It's the New
Baby
Orleans.
cakes.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, Baby
Yeah,
Cakes.
New Orleans Baby Cakes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's their AAA.
The New Orleans Baby Cakes?
New Orleans Baby Cakes. Yeah,
I love it.
It's a Marlins AAA.
Yeah,
How about that?
There's some
Love
pretty.
it.
The Everett Aqua Sox,
What?
Yeah.
That
I'm
doesn't
not
sound
totally sure.
right.
the Frisco Rough Riders,
Oh.
Okay, baby.
Okay.
the Lowell
Who?
Lowell.
Spinners,
Okay.
Pensacola Blue Wahoos. But what I'm confused about is there's a shark on their logo.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
not really
a fish.
the same. I think the Rumble Ponies is still one of my favorites.
It's
Sand Gnats are pretty good, though.
Yeah.
The Savannah Sand Gnats.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
got my
good.
season tickets already.
Another way to make football pretty entertaining. Oh my gosh, what is up, man? I'm telling you, hats off to really good youth coaches because you're necessary and you're fantastic and you're mentors for kids and you're supposed to be guides. This guy is not. He's everything.
Say the least.
Yes. The opposite of what I just mentioned. This youth football coach in New Smyrna Beach, apparently there was this fight that happened during a game. For some reason, the coach goes out there and starts decking opposing team's players. We're talking youth football.
Oh,
Punching kids?
Yeah, I guess parents said, players from both teams got into this argument during the last play of the game, and it got physical. The coach then punched one player in the face as he took his helmet off. He then hit another player in the face, and he throat punched him.
Oh, he throat
my
punched
He
him.
throat punched the
Gosh.
third player.
I'm surprised he didn't Stone Cold stun him.
Yeah, really.
He
Jesus.
cut the one kid right below his right eye.
Oh, my God.
The other two didn't suffer any injuries, including the kid that got throat punched. But the
we be
parents had to
laughing?
go onto the field and drag this maniac off.
I'm confused. Why would he assault the children?
He snapped. He finally had enough.
He lost his mind. I don't know, whatever it was. He was charged with 3 counts of child abuse.
I wonder why.
He
throat
started
punched a
punching
kid.
kids in a football
no.
game.
I mean, the parents have
What?
they just have to pretty much pile on him at that point,
Not
right?
that serious.
Oh my gosh.
Throw punch the kid.
It's unbelievable, huh?
Gosh.
It's like, did you ever see anything like
Is
insane?
there a video of this?
I'm sure somebody had to have gotten it.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like that's got to be a huge
Oh yeah,
story.
if it's a youth football league, they all have their phones
Yeah, that's
watching.
what
They
I'm
had to pull
saying.
them out and record it.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody that's catching this guy throat punching kids.
Jeez.
If you grew up
Jeez.
playing sports, you had to see at least one crazy episode that had happened. I remember probably the craziest one I saw was playing high school baseball. And this one kid's dad came up to the assistant coach and demanded, and he was like this real nerdy, skinny guy. And he's like, "Oh, you need to play my son more." And I saw the coach take him, pick him up, and shove him in a trash can.
Whoa.
What is this? The 1950s?
And the skinny guy started to get out. He's like going, "Don't you dare get out of there!" And this dad sat in the trash can for the rest of practice. It was the most unbelievable thing.
That's pretty horrible
Serious?
for the kid.
It was unreal. I
Think
was
about
just-
that. It's like your dad just got put in a trash can. He's still sitting
Wow,
there.
and he sat there.
He
Just
didn't get
sat-
up.
He didn't get out. He's like, "Don't move. Don't you move."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's pretty unbelievable.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's what you get in youth sports. Want to do a real quick positive call out because after we got youth coach that throat punches other players, you got to end on a positive note. And yeah, he may not have done much for your team or for your offense, but former Florida coach Jim McElwain, I don't know if you heard the story, but he took a $400,000 hit on his home in or just outside of Gainesville. There was a family that has kids with disabilities and they couldn't afford the home. He bought it for $1.4 million, gave it to them for $1 million even, took a $400,000 hit on it, said, "You know what, take it. You guys need it." So
Good on him.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool thing. So good for Jim McElwain, who is now, I believe, in Ann Arbor. With the
I think
Michigan
he is.
Wolverines, yeah.
That's right.
He's up there and coaching with.
Is he Offensive
Harbaugh.
defensive coordinator? What is it?
I wouldn't give him offense. That's just me.
Just let him coach one running back.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not a running back, just one running back.
Just one.
Didn't work out so well for him.
All right, Kevin's Other Show. If you want to see what we all look like, you can check it out on YouTube, always on demand, and you can do the podcast as well. Just look it up by name, Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.